Hello Sagittarius, I'm Poetic Heretic, and this is your October 2017 Tarot Forecast. Do remember you can use these videos for your Sun, Rising, and Moon signs. So this month I am doing a week-by-week forecast. We have one card for each week, the fourth card being also for the rest of the month, and then a fifth card summing up the energy of the whole month. So let's see what we get. What does the universe have in store for the sign of Sagittarius for October 2017? And there we are. The first week, the Eight of Swords. The second week, the Two of Cups reversed. The third week, the Eight of Pentacles. The fourth week, the High Priestess. And the fifth and final card, the Chariot reverse. Okay, this is very interesting, you guys. Notice you got 2 8s and 2 2s. That's very significant. 8s being the number of transformation, and 2s usually referring to close relationships and can also refer to money. So let's see what that is likely to mean for you. Overall, before we go through week by week, I will say it looks like a lot of transformation, like I said, with those 8s. And it could also be that you're finding out secrets of some kind, whether about another person or maybe about yourself, maybe both. And then with the Chariot reverse down here, summing up the energy of the whole month, well, this could go perhaps one of two different ways, one being positive and one being negative. So let's just go through week by week, and we'll get deeper into it that way. So the first week, you're starting with the Eight of Swords. This is a card of essentially feeling limited, feeling trapped, and sort of waiting for things to change. One thing that I've noticed about this card is that it often reminds me of like a cocoon, like a caterpillar or whatever in a cocoon waiting to become a butterfly, which is very appropriate with it being an 8 and talking about that sort of transformation, transformative cycle. So you could be seeing that in the first week this month. It's a sort of like waiting period where you're undergoing the transformation, but there's not a whole lot to do right now other than wait it out. You might also be dealing with limitation. And I've also noticed this card can seem to imply this idea of working with limitation, like advising you to work with limitations rather than trying to get rid of or overcome them. Work with them instead and make progress or whatever that way. But it's definitely a time of sort of looking deep within yourself, especially with that High Priestess coming up. and undergoing a sort of inner transformation. For the second week, you have the Two of Cups reversed. So this could probably go two main different ways. One possibility is that with this card being reversed, it's some kind of broken relationship or a lost love or like a breakup or something like that, or else something else that is like a parting of some kind of sadness. However, the reversal is not necessarily going to mean complete and total tragedy, especially with the High Priestess coming up and one angle of the Chariot reversed, which can mean like emotional problems overcome. So instead, this could be referring to like not the new harmonious relationship that it often talks about when upright and stuff like that, like love, deep, lasting love. But instead, it could be something like the recovery in a relationship, or as we see here with the transformation, a transformation of a relationship, a deep, close relationship in your life. And with the High Priestess here as well, the other two, you have two twos again. This could also be sort of finding out more about your partner if you're in a relationship. And if not, then finding out the secrets or what's hidden about something or even just someone that is important to you, even if you're not in a romantic relationship with them. So, yeah, a couple of different ways that could go. I think the worst case scenario would be a situation where there's a sort of breakdown or upheaval in the home, especially like between a husband and wife would be the most common thing here, or the most probable if I'm looking for the worst case scenario, that is, like with this Chariot reversed card down here. But I mean, well, in my interpretation, if it was going to be something really, really bad, I would be getting more indicators of that here. So I don't really think you should expect it to be anything really that bad, if it is anything bad at all. It could just be, finding out more about the person you're with and leading to a deepening of the relationship. That's possible as well. So, a couple of different possibilities there. For the third week, you have the Eight of Pentacles. This is the second eight. So, this is a card of apprenticeship, working away at something, at some project, at something that's important to you. Knowing that if you keep working and working and working away at it, that you will get to where you're going. It's a card of steadiness and endurance. It refers to the sign of Scorpio, the eights do, which is a fixed sign, which is appropriate because that's the energy of continually working away at something, sticking to the plan. And so it's like while you're undergoing this transformation, there's this sticking to the plan going on as well. As we saw here, the Eight of Swords, it's almost like a waiting period. And here with the Eight of Pentacles, it's kind of like that too, except you're like working away at something. Again, the idea of apprenticeship applies greatly in this card. So, this could be possibly tied to the emotions as well in some way. maybe some kind of project that you're very passionate about, because again, we have the Chariot here, which is talking a lot about the emotions and the emotional world being ruled by the sign of Cancer. And so you could be seeing something where maybe you're even trying to bring your emotions into greater harmony. Or maybe you're even trying to repair a relationship that is getting a little bit tricky. That's another possibility, the idea of repair, especially with this Chariot card, the Chariot card being reversed, indicating emotional problems overcome. So for the 4th week and the rest of the month, the High Priestess, she is talking about secrets, mysteries, the subconscious realms. She's talking about spirituality, hidden knowledge, occult knowledge. She's talking about intuition and the inner world, following that inner voice, that quiet voice within. And again, she is a 2, and so we have the idea of perhaps a close relationship and or money. This could be connected to money. But I think in this context, in this spread, where we've gone over the 2 8s, this card is probably going to talk about more of that energy of looking deep within yourself. And in some cases, maybe even looking deep within another. But regardless, looking deep within and discovering the secrets that are within yourself and getting in touch with your inner world. This may be a time where you're called upon to use your intuition. Maybe by this point in the month, you're called upon to use the lessons that you have learned from looking within yourself and sort of undergoing this transformative energy. This is the time to sort of use that and be in touch with your spiritual side, the spiritual side of your life. Now, with the 5th and final card, the Chariot reversed, talking about the idea of emotional problems overcome and no longer suffering from anything from like an illness to arguments to whatever. This can be that energy. Could even be like saying you have like a close call with an illness or something like that, but you end up avoiding it. Now, on a darker note, the Chariot reversed can actually talk about almost the opposite of that, a sort of upheaval of the emotions, particularly as they relate or in the areas of life connected to the home and family. This could be like an upheaval around the home. It could even be like in the most extreme cases, and this is not exactly likely, so I wouldn't worry about it, but just to give you an idea, in the most extreme cases, this card could indicate in its reverse position the loss of a home. And in other situations like car trouble or like the loss of a vehicle, perhaps even, you know, that kind of stuff. Do I think it's going to be that severe for any of you really? Well, not really, because if it was going to be like that, we should be getting more indicators of that. That's just like to give you an idea of the negative side of this card in its reverse position and like how far it could go, I guess. Interestingly enough, we also have this lunar association. The Chariot, being ruled by Cancer, is also ruled by the moon, and you can see crescent moons in the card. The High Priestess also has a crescent moon, because this too is a lunar card. And I've heard some different interpretations of the moon, but generally it's understood to talk about the subconscious mind and what like drives our hidden impulses and stuff like that. So again, we have this idea of getting more deeply in touch with yourself. And if you are experiencing relationship difficulties, it could be that that's what you need to do, is to get more deeply in touch with yourself and discover why the other person is reflecting back to you something that you do not prefer. Because my thesis is that all relationships and all of life itself is a reflection, and whatever we're experiencing apparently outside of ourselves is really happening within ourselves and is a result of our own state of consciousness or whatever. Like if there's some part of ourselves that we haven't looked at, that we haven't integrated within ourselves, like some part of us in the shadow self that really needs to be dealt with, and we don't deal with it, and we don't deal with it, and we don't deal with it, it can come out in another person behaving in a way that you don't like, because it's the shadow self trying to get your attention. And so I would suggest, if you want to take my advice, that should you experience that, it would be very wise to ask yourself why, to look at your shadow self, to pay attention to that indicator and try to figure out what part of yourself have you sort of neglected or not looked at. What part of yourself do you perhaps need to integrate deeper within yourself? And that goes right along, I have to say, with that transformative energy we have here with the 2 8s. It goes right along with that indeed, because that's about looking deep into the shadow, deep into the unconscious realms, into the hell realms of Pluto, which rules Scorpio, and this is Scorpion energy here, the 8s are. So that's what you want to do if you want to take my advice, should you encounter any relationship challenges, or really any challenges at all, particularly in that second week, as we see here with the 2 of Cups. But again, do not forget, this energy could easily manifest in a different way. This is not a guarantee of a relationship breakdown or something like that. In fact, this could be a deepening of a relationship. This could be the deepening of an already existing close relationship. So it's going to depend on your unique situation, how this manifests for you. But I think this gives a pretty good overview of the most likely possibilities. And again, I'll just go over the Chariot reverse one more time. When I see this card, like in my own personal readings, the first thing I think of is the first meaning I gave you guys, emotional problems overcome. So, since I'm the one doing the reading, chances are that's the meaning intended by the cards, essentially. That's what is intended here. So, there should be more good news than bad news for you guys this month. There should be a higher probability of emotional problems overcome than they're not being overcome, or anything of that nature. So, there you go, Sagittarius. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a great month indeed, and look deep within yourself as much as you feel you need to. This has been a tarot forecast for the sign of Sagittarius for the month of October 2017 from Poetic Heretic. Don't forget to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.